Do you have bunions toe? Did you know that this would contribute to falls and imbalance issues? I'll teach you today how to fix that and strengthen that so you're more stable on your toes. So before we fix this, you have to understand why we're getting this in the first place. You might have some arthritis genetics and you have to work with it. So you're gonna have to work harder to do everything to avoid getting it if it's already in your family, which is the case here. Flat feet is another major contribution. So I have another video on how to fix flat feet, because flat feet also contribute to many other problems like back pain or even neck pain, shoulder pain. Narrow shoes. Narrow shoes is the worst, especially for kids. Nike just made a new shoe for toddlers because they realize the importance of having the proper shoes. There's a lot of fashionable shoes, but we know what happens to our toe. They end up like this. So if you were in a mold all day with this form, obviously you would end up with bunion foot, bunion toe. So we have to change that, right? So white footwear is recommended. I have 3 companies to share with you. I have Vivo, Xero, and GORUCK. I'll put that in the link too. I recommend these because they do permit your toes to move around. And if your foot is wider than the sole, that's because it's not wide enough. So you have to be careful also. There's some brands that create some shoes which it's the outside of the shoe that actually expands. There's like a mesh, but that's not any better. I have another theory on why we're getting this, and let me show you my sleeping posture. And when I realized that I was actually creating this myself just for my sleeping posture. So everybody knows that you should be using pillows in between your knees, and that's the problem. I was sleeping with the pillow in between my knees. But what happens to my foot? Look at the foot. My foot is actually leaning directly on the abductor hallucis muscle. And this is what contributes, just like if I was wearing some high heels, it would bring my toe in, and then you would end up with a bunion. So I suggest you do a quick modifications when you sleep. Not only are you going to use the pillow in between your knees, but you're also going to slide it where your foot is, and this avoids the bone rubbing in. So you actually have that pretty good support now for both your knees and your ankles. And now you just make sure you have a pillow for your head to have the spine straight. And this would be the ideal sleeping position without affecting my toe. The first exercise I have for you is called the short foot. So for the short foot exercise, my goal is to create an arch here, and without lifting the toes. So shortening my foot, stretching it out. Shortening my foot, stretching it out. Stretching my foot. So another thing I suggest doing is plantar flexions. That is simply when you bring those toes in flexion, like so. Why is that so important? Because toe flexion is what propulses you to go frontwards and keeps that balance. If you lose that, even at a couple of degrees, you're supposed to go out at least 10 degrees when you step. 30 degrees when you run. So if you can't bend that toe properly, you're gonna have imbalance issues. My next tip is toe spacers. There's 2 things we could do. We could do the exercises that are toe spacers and also buy the toe spacers. So let's start with toe spacers. One brand I love is Podiatry Essentials. I'm gonna put the link here in the comments. You do wear them 15 minutes a day, and then you take them off gradually to be wearing them 20 minutes. Every week you add on 5 minutes, and the goal is to be able to wear them as much as you can. Next exercise are toe spacers. This helps strengthen the muscles in the toes. increase flexibility and mobility of the forefoot. So I hope these recommendations help and that we could work to better balance and stronger feet. Melanie here from Clinic Fit Massage. You could subscribe, like, share. See you soon.